KKHT wants you to meet three of the classiest guys in real estate.
I am Chris Kelso, the maestro of mortgage.
I am Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate.
And I'm Joe Orsack, the king of credit swing. And together, we're
the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Much like us, real estate right now is smoking hot. So whether it's buying, selling, or owning, you need to check out the Real Estate Rat Pack.
They're here to take your calls and answer your questions.
Just so you know,
live.
every time that intro is playing, we are all doing that in the studio, yes. Joe Orsack, the king of credit swing, and
Rob
together we're
Cook,
the
Real Estate Rat Pack.
Well, I'm not hearing the cheering that we're on.
You know, and we can remake that every time. Absolutely every time.
Don't try this at home, folks. We are professionals.
I feel compelled because I have to. How long has it been since it hasn't been done?
I know.
I feel better now.
You know what?
You feel better now, okay?
Last
It's
week
back to normal.
was the first show. I didn't even think about it until afterwards, but after I was listening back to the show, which I do, we never mentioned that Kim wants a house.
Oh my God, we missed it.
We made it through a whole show without trying to sell me
How
a
is that
house.
possible? Well,
How did
I
you
know
do
it's
that?
kind of today because we're going to be talking about outdoor lifestyles.
We're talking about outdoor lifestyles today. We have two
Which is my
incredible
compromise
guests
item.
in the studio. We have Teresa Kennedy with the Kennedy team. Incredible person. You're going to hear a lot from her today. We also got Brett from Down Under Pools.
Yep.
And, and really good right there. But, one of the things I want to start off with really is what an incredible night last night.
It was awesome.
Amazing.
One of the things that the Real Estate Rat Pack radio show does is we put on an event once a quarter. We bring in all of our guests. We bring in all of our future guests. We bring in friends and family and just generally good people for the Real Estate Rat Pack radio show. And last night it was in honor of Cinco de Mayo. And it was an incredible event. And, I want to do a big shout out to a couple of sponsors that really, really made the event happen for us.
Capital Title
hosted it, and let me tell you, the decoration that they did on that location
Was awesome.
It was absolutely incredible. It looked like you were walking into a bar in Mexico. Of course, if you like Corona, it was a Corona
Bunch of
bar.
seedy characters?
Yeah.
Yes.
But it was the tent was set up, the tables were laid out, and I was so impressed they had done so much work prior to us getting there. Now, we showed up with the adult beverages and the food, but they had everything ready to go.
It was beautiful.
And Joe, weren't those writable Corona life-size?
They were absolutely writable life-size Corona bottles. Yes, we have some great photos,
and there are some great photos you can catch on the Real Estate Rat Pack Facebook website. And if not, message us, and we'll send you some specific ones of Joe that are hilarious, by the way.
And despite what it may look like, I was not drinking a lot or anything. It was just normal silliness.
Normal silliness right there.
But Legends Home, they supported us.
Yes.
KB
Home was out there, supporting us, did a great job. They had a lot of their people out there as well. They built some great homes in some good areas.
PHP, People Helping People.
Rodolfo was there.
Vargas and his lovely wife, Ceci.
Yes, just incredible.
And that mariachi band.
The mariachi band rocked.
They were
the
awesome.
mariachis were great.
The little kid that was singing.
The little
was
kids
so
were
cute.
jamming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the few things, you don't get to see mariachis very often here in Houston. And we got to see not only a great mariachi band, but the fact that they have the kid factor in it, and those two little boys who actually play their violins or their fiddles and sing along with it is absolutely incredible.
They're also poised. It was awesome.
We had the dancers. We had
the one young
traditional
girl that sang really had a phenomenal voice.
She's actually tried out for multiple. I guess in Latin America, the equivalent of like American Idol and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Got pretty
Yeah,
far
she
on
had a
those.
really
So
good voice.
incredible. Yes.
So you guys liked my dance segment? Is that
Yes.
what y'all are saying?
Yes, we did.
My flamenco? No, wait,
Yes.
that's Spanish, isn't it?
Well,
Okay,
it's
well,
close
what?
enough.
Yeah, there you go.
Close enough. Anyway, it was a tremendous evening, and can look forward to the next event.
Oh, I would absolutely agree. We
But
can't forget One Guard. They were out there
One
in
Guard
full
was
and
out
also
there.
support us on everything.
All three of our One Guard ladies were out there,
Yes.
helped support us, and it was just a great night. And the people who didn't show up, they really missed something very special.
It was a very, very special
It was
night.
a long way to go. It
Yes.
was on the east
I
side of town.
unfriend you.
Yeah. we want to thank all of our sponsors. We want to thank everybody who listened, who shows up. We want to let
Not
you
how
guys
it
know
works.
we do this quite often.
Any of this works.
Yes.
I unfriend you. That's so funny, Joe.
Well, we got an awesome show planned today. You know, we're just sitting here jawing here, but and that is a technical term.
And it would start off that way because as the intro was going, we were playing around. She's like, mics are live.
Let's do a couple other shout-outs as
Yes.
Claudia Garcia.
Yes.
Who is the manager out there at the Capitol Titles. She was very instrumental, and also Naomi Nunez. They did a lot of work.
They all the staff
All
out
the
there
staff
did an
out there was
incredible
great.
amount of
Nelly?
work. They did a great job. You know, we had a lot of food, a lot of fajitas. You know, I want to give a shout out to Taco Grill for giving us a really good deal and feeding over 100 and some odd people out there yesterday. It was just an incredible event. You know, and it's part of what we do on this show, which is not only having fun and goofing off, but also bringing people together.
We're really good at that.
Yes,
Having a lot of fun and really
and
goofing
a
off.
lot of goofing off. And again, go to the Facebook page and look at all the goof off photos with Joe. I'm probably in a couple of those right there. But you know, one of those things is it's about bringing people together. It's about having a good time. You know, we want to inform individuals about what's going on in the real estate community and different subject matters, et cetera. But it's also about getting to know, because people do business with people. People enjoy being with other people, and that's what the Real Estate Rat Pack's about.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, we always want to introduce our folks to the sponsors that we have on our show. Are really, really fantastic companies. And we don't say that just because they're sponsors. We say that because we sought them out to be sponsors because they're really great people. They're
Right.
really great organizations. And so, you know, when we have these events and that type of thing and bring the real estate community to those sponsors, we really are. It's an endorsement from us and that we just really enjoy working with those companies.
And you know, one of the things also is, you know, we've had a couple of two-timers in this studio, but we've never had a
I know.
three-timer.
Never had a three-timer.
Never had a three-timer in the
First.
studio.
Huge!
That's my high C.
The
heavens
shy and
parted.
retiring Teresa Kennedy.
Yes. No.
The heavens parted and a ray of sunshine just came down. Y'all missed it.
Well, I guess that makes me an FT. I'm the first timer.
You are. No.
You've officially
it
been
is-
rat packed now.
Yeah,
so-
right.
I think because I drove all the way from the Woodlands to the event last night, they felt bad for me.
No.
They were like, "Come and be on the
No,
show tomorrow."
we were worried about having way too much testosterone in the room. It was going to be four guys, and it's like, no.
No, exactly. Well, yeah, we had a good little mixture in here, right? No, it was. Yeah, I love it. I have so much fun with you guys. We just go back and forth and give each other a hard time, so it's all good.
So anyway, for our first timer though, I think we ought to introduce Brett Hatfield, and he is with Down Under Pools, and welcome to the show.
Well, thanks very much. Thanks a lot for having me.
Well, thank you very much, and I love the name Down Under Pools. I mean, where are you from?
You know, I can't run.
Arizona.
From LA, Lower Arkansas.
Yeah, lower part. Yeah. Lower part. Down under LA.
Originally from Perth, Western Australia, but I've been here for 20 years. So.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, you know, one of the things we're talking about today is actually just the outdoor living that we're seeing here in Houston. You know, one of the things that's coming up is a lot of individuals who have homes, who are either buying homes or have a home and want to enhance the area in which they live, are looking at building outdoor areas. You know, and they're looking at building pools, and they're looking at building outdoor kitchen areas and decks. You know, what are you seeing here in Houston? And first of all, let us know a little bit about your company, sort of what what you do, and then we'll talk a little bit about sort of what's going on and what you're seeing as far as trends and styles.
Sure. Basically, what we do, we're a design company that will build. So, like any project, it is about it's about the design. You guys are going to make me laugh.
Teresa got attacked by a microphone.
It did. It attacked me. It's all your fault, Joe, because it heard you say unfriend.
Yes.
But you know what? We got one of the warmest climates, in the country.
Right.
Almost. And so our swimming season is very long. People like to spend a lot of time outdoors. And so design is really crucial when it comes to putting in a pool. You don't just want to go out there and throw a concrete hole in the ground. So there's a lot of aspects to it. We like to get with our clients and filter through, get a bit of an idea of their lifestyle, their design style. Take a look at the features of their home, architectural style of their home. We do a landscape inventory. And then we'll come up with a design that fits not only their lifestyle, their needs, their likes, their dislikes, and usually in some cases, in fact, quite a few cases, he likes something other than what she does. So it's our job to communicate with the both of them and find the balance in there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, if it's like it is around my house, whatever she likes is coincidentally what I then have to like.
that is correct.
Well, in a lot of cases, that's usually what ends up happening. But
I already know I'm in trouble on this show because, as has been pointed out, pretty much every show in the history of the show, my wife wants a new house, but the compromise item is becoming the pool. She said, if we're not moving anytime soon, I want a pool. So I'm certain she has her pen and pad out, and she's taking notes and everything else for this show.
And you didn't know they sell new homes with pools as well.
I was about to say that.
Yes.
Brett was talking last night at the event that he was working with somebody to put in a pool in a new home that's being built. So it can work both ways.
Yeah.
well, downtown there's a lot of tear downs and rebuilds, and so in given situations in the downtown area, space is really crucial. So in order for us to get equipment to the back of the lot can be very difficult to almost impossible. So we like to work with the builders prior to actually getting started, laying down a foundation so that we can actually go in there, excavate, do all our steel and our stub out and shoot gunite in it, and then leave it until the project or the house has been built to a point where we can come back in and finish.
Of course, it makes a great place to put all the trash and stuff too, isn't it?
Exactly during that time
Frogs,
frame.
tadpoles.
One of the things I've been seeing also, we've been hearing a lot, is something called a cocktail pool, especially in those areas in which you've got limited space, maybe some of the townhomes out there, et cetera. How has that come into play recently in regards to, I've never really heard that term until over the past couple of years when I've been seeing these cocktail pools go in.
So, cocktail pool, we find a lot of those on golf courses because there's not a lot of space in the backyard. So what we can do is we can actually incorporate a spa into the pool. So instead of having a separate vessel, a pool, and then a spa attached to it, there's a lack of room. It's about art, and it's about design. So cocktail pool is about social, entertainment, friends, fun.
That is awesome. Well, and one of the things that we've been seeing is that as individuals, move back into the urban areas, and they're moving back into the downtowns, et cetera, they still want to have a little bit of that feel that they're doing on the outside in the suburbs, right? Mm-hmm. They want to be able to get in and not necessarily maintain a huge pool, be able to have a place they can go, a watering place they can get into, have a place they can get in, a few drinks, get wet, cool down. Being from Australia, you mentioned obviously Houston has a very warm climate in which you can take advantage of pools. How does that compare to, for example, in Australia?
What we find in Australia, it's a drier heat. And I know that sounds kind of obtuse, but
Right.
hot's hot, right?
Right.
So, in fact, there's quite a few of the products that are incorporated into pools that were actually designed in Australia. For example, we use nothing but Pebble Tech and Pebble Sheen, which is the surface that goes on the interior of the pool, was actually designed and trademarked in Australia, and very popular here. Mm-hmm. Some people like to have the bottom of the pool, or the surface of the pool, coloured. We actually don't do coloured plaster. We will only do Pebble Tech, Pebble Sheen, given the fact that it's very, very difficult to get consistency with regular white marble plaster or a coloured plaster. Usually it ends up looking mottled, and it doesn't look very nice at all. Pebble Tech, Pebble Sheen is a registered trademark product, and they have a process that helps to actually blend the colour and make it seem solid, and it has a lot of texture and is far better look and finish and feel.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, those are things I want to talk about and more. But unfortunately, as always, we're coming up against a break right now. But, the great thing is we're just now starting. We have plenty more things to talk about, and we're at the beginning of the show. And we still have Teresa Kennedy, who's going to be talking about outdoor lifestyles and what she's seeing also in the market.
And Brett does more than just pools.
And we're going to be talking a lot about that, all the other stuff that you can put in along with your pool. So, you know what? Until the next segment right here, we'll be right back.
And a whole lot of you. Add a dash of starlight and a dozen roses too. Then let it rise for 100 years.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
So, there's a lot of stuff that we do in the studio, but the one thing we have not had Teresa Kennedy do live on air is snort.
No, I have snorted before.
You have snorted before, and has it been as loud as what it's been here this morning?
That's what happens whenever you're in a room with guys.
I can
I have to be somewhat like a guy, kind of, so I got to snort.
I can only imagine what the listeners think half the time of what's going on in this show. Like, do they ever actually do anything on the show other than goof off?
and punch each other? No.
Yeah.
I was saying whenever you said that Brett does more than pulls, he puts one on the bobby shrimp. Do you get tired of people asking you that?
No,
or saying that?
it's one of those things. It's better than that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Darn!
Crocodile Dundee.
I'll scratch that one off the list.
That was your next one line,
Yes.
was it, Joe?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Joe's totally got like a checklist over there on his.
Well, I love accents and stuff, and my kids watch a lot of the Doctor Who stuff, which is all English. So I'm always doing an English accent around the house, and the kids think it's funny, and my wife can't do it at all. So her humor is to do it as bad as possible. So she's like, "Hello, Governor! Throw another shrimp on the Barbie." And my kids are like, "It doesn't sound anything like that."
They're all looking at her like dumbfounded, like, huh?
Which in itself is funny.
Oh, that's so
Anyway,
funny.
we're talking about outdoor lifestyles and things
We
like
are?
that. Yes, we are. Well, actually, we don't have to.
Where have you been, Rob?
Well, I try to get us back on message here, but we don't have to.
It's out of control.
It is out of control.
Well,
So
with a day like today, we should be talking about outdoor living. It is
man.
absolutely gorgeous outside.
So gorgeous.
And I'm going to be going straight up to the Lake Conroe right after the show.
Well, see, I was saying that, because in the Woodlands we've got the golf tournament right now, and I was like, God just gave them some good
kidding.
weather.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
If I knew how to play golf, man, I'd be out there right now because it's gorgeous.
I'll bet you Michael Board's out there right now.
He might be. I don't know.
And he was. I know he's out there, and he was a no-show last night. So we're gonna talk to Michael next time we see him. Absolutely. So
Hang him up by his bootstraps.
there we go.
Or strap him
It was
up.
a different bee you used. Great deal. Hanging up by his boat straps.
His board straps. No.
His board straps.
Oh wow!
Oh, Michael's in trouble now. So, but getting back to outdoor living.
How are
by
you
the
going to
way.
edit this one, Joe?
I don't even
Yeah, you don't even know.
The whole first segment is going to be gone. We'll
And
just
my mother
wipe
is
that out.
listening. Hi, Mom. And Michelle Vic Garza, my awesome buyer's agent. Hi,
Incredible.
Michelle. And Andy Brahms, my other buyer's agent that I work with. I'm really blessed.
That you are. You are
You are
absolutely
truly
blessed.
blessed. It's like, but we're still talking about pools here.
We're talking about outdoor living still, yes.
What a great, easy segue, right?
Yes.
And there's a lot of things. I've noticed that we were talking about cocktails pools, but I also noticed that I'd seen in some of the houses that had these beautiful rock formation and waterfall, and it was like an 8-person hot tub type of thing with a what they call a beach entry. Are you seeing a lot of that being built now?
You know what? There's a lot of projects out there that are beach entries. I tell you what, I do see a lot of them because we have an environment that's really conducive to outdoor living, outdoor environments. The backyard needs to be an extension of the house from the inside to the out. But spas, we do contoured spas, even though they're gunite. So the seats are rolled; they're far more comfortable. We have floor jets as well as additional exterior jets. Beach entries take up a little bit of space, so just keep in mind that with the beach entry, you need quite a bit of length to the pool. It won't work with a cocktail.
And just for
pool.
the people who may not know what a beach entry is, kind of describe what that is.
It's like if you can just imagine going down to the beach and just slowly walking into the water and off you go and drop off into the sand, into the surf. So
Yeah, it's a
we
great
can do
look.
the surf as well. It's just a little bit more.
Yeah, hang 10 in the backyard. Yeah,
Exactly.
All things are possible with a large enough check.
And and what's going on? What are people doing with the pool? Obviously you've got the pool, but outdoor living
Mainly
entails
swimming.
much more than just a pool. It entails a lot of other aspects that people are doing right now. They're expanding patios, they're doing outdoor kitchens, they're doing living spaces outside. What are you
really
seeing as far as that expansion beyond the pool?
The outdoor kitchens have really boomed. It's become very, very popular. And once again, if you're going to do an outdoor kitchen, because of the types of summers that we have, it's important to sit and consider doing a structure over the top of it. Patio, whether it be solid or even something that's going to reduce the amount of sun. You can do like a drip through with purlins, and then cross beams going across the top that will restrict the sun down to about 40%. Because nobody's going to go out and sit in the middle of the day in our sun and have a barbecue or even in their pool. So what I'm finding is in a lot of our designs, we're actually incorporating the pool underneath the structure. So you've got some shade.
Wow.
But the outdoor kitchens, it's another big one.
Huge.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And you can do something from very simple to really extravagant. Once again, it just depends on what your budget is, can withstand, what your likes and dislikes are.
And and that is one of the things that we're seeing here recently. You talk about that. I've been in a couple homes in which you've got the outdoor kitchen. It's a very simple setup. It's the traditional go out there, have your barbecue area to fix in, maybe a little bitty refrigerator. To the ones that you walk outside and go, wow, this is bigger than my kitchen. With sitting areas and with formal sitting areas and then formal eating areas, and not only just a full kitchen outside. There's a good friend of mine. They built a full outdoor kitchen. It has both a grill and a stove and microwave and refrigerators and dishwashers and sinks and wine. It has
ice
everything
machine.
to it. Yeah, ice machine, just everything. And we're seeing, as you mentioned, one of the things that's going on a lot is they are requesting those extensions of the home because they need coverage. But the one challenge that we're seeing is, and people I guess have to really realize, is a lot of times there's a lot of HOA you have to go through to make sure that those extensions not only get the permitted side of things, but also meet the look and feel of the extended part of the property, right? Yeah. How do you work through that?
This is part of the design process. To go to meet with the client, we like to go out, take photographs of the house to look at their architecture, the style and feel of the house, so that what we do becomes an extension of what's there and doesn't look like a tacked on afterthought. Even though we're sitting down and we are focused on how you feel and how your lifestyle right now, at some point you may consider selling that home a little bit further down the line. So we tend to look at things we don't suggest personalizing it. Decals in the bottom of the pool, really outrageous tile.
No murals of yourself.
No Corona bottles in the bottom. Yeah.
No big CK at the bottom.
There you go.
I thought everybody wanted that.
Big mariachi hat
I'm a
on.
huge fan of the Texans, but the Texans decal in the bottom of your pool is not something that we would recommend. Although we will do it if somebody really wants to do it. But it is about resale after as well. So having people be able to enter a home and as they walk in be drawn to that outdoor area and feel like, oh, wow, this is awesome. I want to go and be in that space. That's what we look to do. So to pull that back to the Homeowners Association, yes. When from the time that we visit with the client to planning, initial planning, space planning, and then design, we have that in mind because we work with the HOAs constantly. We actually do all that for all of our clients. And the last thing that we want to do is upset them or have something that's going to cause them a problem further down the line. Same with the city.
I'm curious, because I've heard this a lot from my realtor friends about the resale aspect of pools. That the statement, you'll never get your investment back in a pool. But there's so much more to it than, at least for me, as one of the big considerations for me is we have a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old, and there's a value that, from a dollar standpoint, that I can't put on the pool. I want them to be there. I want their friends to be at our house rather than them leaving and being gone all the time. And you can't really put a dollar on that.
Let's take like the trip that your family just took.
Yeah,
it cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
To do that. what kind of return did you get from that monetarily?
That's monetarily nothing.
When you get a pool, you are buying a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's for your entertainment, and you don't expect to get it back $1 for $1. However, I do know that in the transfer market, and Teresa, you can comment on this. I know you deal with some people who are relocating. When you get oil executives coming into the city, invariably, one of the first things they want is a pool. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what we're seeing, because our inventory is so low right now, homes that are having, that do have the pool and the outdoor kitchen, I mean, they're the first day, they're multiple offers. They're selling, and a lot of these execs, they want that lifestyle. They want the move-in ready house with the pool, spa, outdoor kitchen, everything.
It's that part that in the past I haven't understood. I'm like, to me, a pool if that's something I would look for, I would enjoy and all that sort of thing. So it seems to me that it would be you would get value back out of it.
Let me give an example though. Lakes of Eldridge is a great community that's just north of I-10, and what it has is that a lot of people who are in the oil industry are in that subdivision. We had investors were buying houses without pools and then leasing them out, but they would install a pool before they leased it out. Because they know these people coming in on these packages, oftentimes now they're not buying homes, they're leasing, the corporation saying, we're going to move you again in 2 years, so please don't buy something.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
But they want a pool, so these investors are buying the houses, who are pretty expensive houses, and then putting their pool in.
Yeah, and they can get that much more for a house. And
they're getting $4,000, $5,000 a month for those houses.
And
the pool is the factor.
Paying for it for these executives. I mean, we get like these executives from all over the world, and $5,000, $6,000 a month, not a problem for a lease. I mean, it's the craziest thing. Yeah.
And I've had some owners that go ahead and amortize it in. And then, of course, you can cover it in the lease payment without an issue. So it's not, it's still economic.
That's it, honey. We're installing a pool, moving into an apartment, and leasing out the house for $5,000 a month.
I have to make mention that there's very specific areas that this works.
And you got to have.
Humble isn't on the list.
You got to have Brett install it. I would just have him install it and have him talk all day long.
Yeah.
Just hang out. Just hang out.
So when we see Teresa Kennedy next time, it's like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm just listening and hanging out next to a not built pool yet. We know what's going on right there.
Like
and we hear somebody in the background saying, what we need to do.
Our pool came with an Australian.
It's like that cartoon, the alien.
I'm an alien now.
We got a break.
I've been accused of a lot of things, but never being an alien.
I'm talking about, don't you?
The music is playing,
The music is playing. We are having too much fun here, so we are going to take a break right now, but we will be right back.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
Now the mics are on.
And we are back. Wow.
Show is...
as for a three-timer, let me tell you, it is taken off on the show, let me tell you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we've got a Hispanic Martian over here. A Latin Martian.
A Latin Martian over here. That is way too funny.
I think we were actually talking about something a moment ago, but I've lost track.
I don't know. Joe was telling us that if you get it down under pool, it comes with an Australian.
Yes.
So
that is it's a fact. It's very much a part of his niche marketing plan. Every pool that he installs comes with an Australian.
Yes. Right. But Chris, on the break, you're actually telling Brett that you were thinking about putting a pool in. So
that is correct. We will
I'd love
definitely
to know
put
the
one
process. We were kind of talking about that process. Of course, you come out and you talk to the homeowner as to what their lifestyle are and budgets and things like that. So let's talk about the build process. Okay, you've decided what you want.
Right. I've decided I'm going down under pools.
Down under pool.
And I've decided that I want to put it in. So my next question as a buyer is going to be, what does that process look like? What time frame? Let's assume an average pool.
He doesn't build average pools, by the way.
I know he builds very, very nice pools, which is why I'm going to go with them. Yeah, which is why I'm going to go with them. But so my question would be: what am I looking at time frame? What are you going to do in regards to how do you get into my backyard? How do you, what's the disturbance? I have dogs. I have children who like to play in my backyard. Those are some questions I have from a timing perspective, because ultimately it ends up impacting my lifestyle for whatever period of time that is.
So usually what happens, it's a little subjective in relation to how much time it takes, because it really depends on the complexity of the project. Larger projects obviously are going to take a little bit longer. So, as a rule of thumb, sorry, am I close enough now? I've never had somebody push something like that in my face, but
and
they
it was
live to
not
tell
me,
about it, right?
as we all know. Teresa Kennedy did not do that.
Our producer's getting in the act now.
Yes, she is, not me.
Throwing mics in people's faces.
there you go. Yeah.
Oh, good grief. And now
Will
Chris
it
is throwing
fit?
them in mine.
The Australian is actually not very far away. He just wasn't close to the microphone.
That's right.
So time frame to pull this back. Time frame
Hang
can
in there.
be anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. So the process is excavation first, depending upon the access to the yard. We're going to take a panel or 2 panels out of the fence. We'd like to leave that down at least for at least 2 to 3 weeks, so that we can get additional equipment back through there, and things like stone and supplies that are going to go around the pool. It should be secured. We usually on ours put up caution tape across that aperture.
That'll keep them out.
Yep. And usually what will happen is, once we lay the pool out, it becomes a little bit of an illusion. People look at the layout of the pool on the ground, think, oh, wow, that's really small, and then start to panic that they've done the right thing. But once we dig the hole, it's at that point people all of a sudden start to see the 3D, and they'll begin to relax. Excavation is usually a day. It's going to look pretty clean at that point, until such time as we get out there and we start to do all the plumbing and the electrical, and we've got these guys out there digging trenches, and we've got trenches everywhere, and especially if we've got to have inspections done to make sure everything's to code, we have to leave those trenches open. So at that point, it can really look like a bomb's gone off. So I suggest, if you're a little bit squeamish about, looking at your yard torn up, pull the blinds down and just don't worry about it. We like to keep you informed as we move along as to what the process is. But as we do 3 cleanups as we go through the process to keep the site as clean as possible. Remember, it is a construction site. And unlike your home, when your home is being built, you're usually not there. You'll come in and visit every now and then. But we're in a fishbowl. So we're actually in your backyard each morning. When you pull up the blinds, we're there. So we like to keep you informed of all the things that are going to go along. The more questions that you ask, the easier it is for us, because we can make sure that you're completely in tune with what's going on, and then there's no surprises and like, oh, wow, what's going on out there, and this is a mess, and what's that for, and why are they making this noise? So, yeah, that's pretty much the process.
Well, and that's very important, because a lot of times people want to know what that process is. What does it look like? How am I going to be disturbed? Especially individuals who have children who want to hurry up. And then I imagine it's also sometimes frames of getting in. Everyone wants to hurry up and have it finished at that point, because once they see the hole in the ground, the next thing is, when can I start swimming in it? So a 4 to 6 week process right there. On average, obviously, it can vary, because you have some more complex pools.
Yep.
Depends on the material, depends on the style, depends on permits and inspections, engineering, et cetera, et cetera. But that's a very good process right there. And then you go out and give a free estimate for individuals who are looking, or how's your process on when someone calls you up and says, I'm interested in putting in a pool, I want to evaluate your company? What do you do?
So the process is, we will actually come out and visit with you at your home. And the reason I like to come out there is that's where the pool is, not in our office.
Right.
So at that point, when I go out there, we're going to sit down and have a brief interview once again, just to sit down and make sure we're all on the same page, start to get you going in the right direction and asking the right questions. We want to determine, if salt is of interest to you, or if you want to do regular chlorine, and we can open that can of worms here in a minute. And because my question was to digress slightly, my question to clients when they ask me about that is, why do you want salt? Because usually salt, if it's being sold, is sold for the wrong reasons. Everybody thinks that it's a cost issue with salt. that the maintenance is less, which is absolutely untrue. The maintenance and the cost is going to be almost identical to any other form of sanitation in your pool. The reason you would want to get salt is it's a feel thing. So you and the kids can spend all day in the pool and you're not going to come out with red, bulgy eyes. You're not going to smell like chlorine. It's softer. It's not going to dry your skin out the same way as regular chlorine does. And for the ladies, your hair's not going to go green after you've been in the pool.
I have a saltwater pool, and I love it. That's the one reason why I did not do chlorine, because exactly. I mean, your eyes literally, after being in the pool for 10 minutes, my eyes are so incredibly red whenever I'm swimming in chlorine pools. But with my salt water, it doesn't even bother me.
And her skin is so beautiful.
And her hair's not green.
And my hair's not green.
It's that
It's
Martian
blonde.
thing again, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what's interesting is to make that a little bit more tangible for people. You know, it's like, well, salt water, boy, is that like, you know, can I really taste it? So to give you a little bit of an idea, and I won't make you all glaze over with technical stuff, but a tear in your eye, the salt content is around about 6,800 parts per million.
Obviously.
So the salt water content, and you know what that tastes like. You get a tear come down in your mouth, and you can you feel the salt content.
I'm crying all the time. I definitely understand.
He's tasting his tears right now.
Yeah, really. And so the salt content in your pool is 30 and should be maintained at around about 3,400 parts per million. So it's half, less than half than what it is with the salt content in your eye. The salt content in the ocean is about 25 times that. So it just kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of how it would feel. Go ahead.
I was going to say it doesn't taste like, I mean, I've got kids that swim in the pool and they drink, and no. So it's nothing like the salt water that the ocean has whatsoever.
And the misnomer that there's a lot of information out there, and unfortunately some of it is misinformation. So if there's one issue with this debate, is that there is no empirical evidence to support any one particular argument, because there is no control 2 years, 4 years, 6 years. And then this is definitively what happened with this pool with salt, and this is what happened with one that didn't. So all the information that is out there is actually anecdotal. I have projects that are out there that are 15, 20 years old with sedimentary stone, which most of your products in house and pool construction consist of, that have salt water around them, and they're not degrading. They're just not going away.
And I recently had a client who actually told me, because I was talking to him about my interest, obviously, in putting in a pool. And I was asking him the question, he has a salt pool right now, and he had a chlorine pool prior to that. And my first question to him was, is it true that salt pools are so much cheaper? He said, no. Just what you said. He said, I've had both. He said it has nothing to do with it being cheaper to maintain or more expensive to put in for salt. He said it has nothing to do with that. He said, at the end of the day, they're both equal. Has to do with what we enjoyed swimming in more.
Yep.
The fact that we can spend more, as you mentioned, quality time in the pool without having to get out and having irritations of the skin or eyes being blood red because, the kids are trying to swim underwater the whole time. So it was a big difference on there. And that's probably the biggest factor I look, when you go swim in a public pool, you get out of there and it's like, whoa, your eyes, all the amount of chlorine content. Not that you're going to put that much chlorine maybe in your personal pool, but still. The chlorine base is known to have a worse impact on the way your body receives it versus a natural content such as salt.
There's actually, another misnomer about salt. People are inclined to feel or think that the salt is rusting all the furniture on their deck, which it doesn't happen. I've not seen anything that would really support that argument. I'm not suggesting that people's furniture is not rusting or steel furniture is not rusting on their decks, but you have to sit down and consider all the other options that could be causing that to happen. The other thing is that regular chlorine is actually mined from salt, so it still has salt in it.
Right.
The other, and if you take a pail of chlorine, and I've seen this happen, I had a neighbour that was doing some maintenance on his pool. He had a regular chlorine pool, and he left the top off the chlorine in the garage. Overnight. When he came back out into the garage in the morning, everything had rust on it. It was like rust spots in the garage.
Wow.
So there's once again,
chlorine is
and
highly
I don't
corrosive.
sit down and suggest, no, this is definitive, this is definitely not happening. And all I'm saying is sit down and do your homework. We'll give you all the information and all the education that we have about it and educate you so that you can make a decision on what's best for you.
And I can tell you, I agree with that rust factor. I don't have a pool right now, and anything I have that's metal in the back, every 2 years I'm having to replace it because just the natural content we have in our normal environment, the humidity, et cetera, it gets rusted out. It has nothing to do with the pool. I mean, and individuals have the exact same type of furniture as me, complain about the same thing, has nothing to do, and they have pools, has nothing to do with the pool.
Efflorescence is another one. So what's efflorescence? Efflorescence is if you've gone to a public pool, gone to an apartment complex somewhere, and you've seen that big white stalagmite buildup in the tile. Well, that's calcium chloride, and it's a calcium buildup. What you see in some kettles is coming out of the water. But in particular on pools is that you'll see it coming out, especially areas where you have waterfalls, and there is areas of the pool that are exposed to ambient air. And what that's doing is it's drawing the calcium chloride out of the concrete underneath.
Oh, wow.
And so having a saltwater pool is not accelerating that process any more than regular chlorine is.
Well, we are coming up against a break again, but when we come back, I want Teresa Kennedy to go over some of the things associated with buying homes with pools, some of the outdoor living spaces that you're seeing. You're dealing in a market up in the Woodlands and all over Houston that you're seeing a lot of the outdoor living, and also talk a little bit about the value associated with what you're seeing in regards to this. But we're coming up against a break right now, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The girl in the world is smiling, 'cause she's in love. The girl in the world is smiling, 'cause she's in love with the man in the moon. When two heavenly bodies glow, all the stars agree.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5554
time that commercial goes, I can't resist doing that.
and Rob.
I know. We have to have him follow us around all the time.
Totally.
And the great Teresa Kennedy is in the studio.
Live.
I just have to say that the anti-Martian views of the guests and or hosts do not reflect the views of the station.
That is correct, or the show.
It's just so funny, like that. When you said that, it just reminded me of that cartoon.
Gosh, okay. So I am a cartoon character today,
Yes.
as always. But
It was Bugs Bunny, yes.
One of the things that we talk about on the
you with my
whatever.
that guy.
But
We've completely digressed again.
Miss Teresa Kennedy, as we can't get her to. I want a big old snort. That's I want to.
That's going to be rough if you've just tuned in.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So-
I'm sure the
Definitely want
question.
definitely want the snort right there.
I have
but,
a question for you about the pool stuff.
Yeah.
Because we are also looking at a pool. Do you relocate or will you move trees that are like young trees, not massive trees, but we have a tree that we planted like 3 years ago, I think, and it's now probably about 20 foot tall, 15 foot tall, right around there.
Short answer is we can, and in given situations, it just depends on, will it survive? There's no guarantee that it'll survive,
Sure.
depending upon what time of the year that you do it.
Gotcha.
So, obviously...
Does that ever come up? I mean, is that people ask that, or they
Not
just
a lot.
normally get rid of them?
Not a lot.
Not a lot? No.
they're like, get the pool in, get rid of the trees, let's go forward.
Well, and in most cases, it's because if you've got a deciduous tree around, it's going to be, dropping stuff in the pool constantly.
Right.
So,
especially pine trees.
yeah.
Ooh.
And see, what we do with our projects is, for me, once again, coming back to this lifestyle thing, it's about what you see. So clean lines all the way around the pool surface is really important. And where I'm going with this is normally most pools have have the big round skimmer box, the big plastic lid that sits in the middle of your deck.
Yeah.
And you pull the basket over. We actually don't have those. So your deck is pristine all the way around.
Oh, that's cool.
And so we have a different way of going about filtering the surface, the 18 inches of surface water in the pool. And so it's to minimize the amount of debris that's falling in the pool from outside sources is really helpful. And obviously, you can't control all of that because neighbors' trees are going to blow into the pool.
Oh, yeah.
But the more we can limit it around the immediate area is really helpful.
And, before I ask Teresa Kennedy a question I want to ask one more from you.
Mm-hmm.
Safety around the pool. Mm-hmm. I can't stand what I've seen with a lot of pools, unfortunately, that have these big old, sort of like, surroundings that have all these glass or mesh enclosures that go all around the pool. I actually saw one the other day that actually looked like it almost had like a webbing that went on top of the pool. What do you have safety-wise? Because, I've got a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old. That's important to me that when we're not in the pool,
huge.
Or someone's not in there, safety is considered.
Absolutely huge. And you know what? For a lot of people, it's the 500-pound gorilla in the room. They don't want to talk about that, and it's really important that you do. Excuse me. And safety starts with the parents right off the bat. Make sure that you're teaching your kids to swim at a very, very early age, getting them used to being around water and understanding the dangers of it. The next thing is let's start inside the house. There needs to be an alarm inside. So when that door is open, there's an alarm that goes off immediately. The next thing is the next layer would be to put up something if you don't want that perimeter or that barrier around your beautiful pool, your beautiful outdoor environment, is to have something that's temporary, can be set in place until the kids have reached a certain age and then they're allowed to go into the pool area, and then it can be removed and holes plugged up in the deck area. So there's all sorts of different levels of pool cover, like you've just talked about. There's the trampoline style one,
right?
And then there's automated covers. They're quite a bit more expensive.
Right.
People tend to go in that direction, and it's anything that you can do to prevent the drowning is not too much.
Gotcha. I thoroughly agree. And, Teresa, coming back to you a little bit, we've been talking about outdoor living, and you obviously deal in the market up in the Woodlands where your stations, but not only the Woodlands, you do business all over the place, in which outdoor living, as we talked about, is a very big selling point and something that a lot of your buyers are actually seeking out there right now.
It is a huge selling point because, being in the Woodlands, Montgomery, Conroe, Spring area, the walking trails, everything's outdoor. We have the outdoor, Market Street shopping now. So what I'm seeing, not only with just pools, but I'm seeing clients put in the outdoor kitchen without a swimming pool. And they go all out, just like Brett was saying, and we were talking about with the stove, microwave, refrigerator, ice maker, TVs, ceiling fans. I mean, they are putting almost as much money in their patio outdoor living as they are their pools. And especially in the luxury market, you have to have that nowadays, that outdoor kitchen. In fact, a lot of the new construction in the 500,000 and up, they're doing that. They're putting the outdoor kitchen as part of the whole, and the outdoor fireplace.
I do have
Fire
a question
pit.
in this zone, and I kind of brought it up to you yesterday at the event when we were talking about this. I live in a very middle range housing. I don't live in a $500,000 house yet.
We're getting you there.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm working on it. And if my wife has anything to do with it, it'll be a lot sooner than I want. But anyway, if I put in a pool that was $100,000, I would be the only house in the neighborhood, that it was in my price range.
Yeah.
It would be unrealistic. So how do you address managing putting in a pool or an outdoor living thing that still doesn't blow you out of the comp prices for your house? If you intend to sell it at some point, you're way out of the range of the normal houses in the neighborhood.
All of these things are really important to discuss prior to getting going. And so becomes that first meeting. Content of that conversation is really going to drive. We all have things that we want, but are just slightly out of our reach just for the moment. Some people like to phase things because of their budget, but the other thing is you've got to be cognizant of the area that you live in and property values around you. If you don't intend on moving, and in some situations people don't, that's it. We don't want to move anymore, and we're here, and we don't care. And so they are willing to spend a little bit more. But then there's others like, well, we just don't know how long we're going to be here. Well, if that's the case, we need to sit down and design something that's not going to you're not going to overcapitalize on the house and get into something that you're not going to get your money back. And it's you could Teresa can probably address this better than I can. It's a question that does come up. What sells pools and with houses? What sells houses? And I don't have the answer to that, but in my experience, I see that just having an outdoor environment really doesn't help, especially in this city.
Oh, for sure. I was going to say, even in the medium household pool, you don't even have to have the hot tub spa to get it sold. I mean, buyers just want a pool. And one thing that I was seeing a couple of years ago, and we're not now because we're in a seller's market, a lot of new construction clients of mine that were, a lot of relocation, they were putting pools in and they were actually upside down because the value wasn't there yet. And they put in $80,000 pools and they could not afford to sell their home. And now the market is so amazing. It's just night and day. You can buy new construction, put a pool in, and then, you can sell it and get a lot of that value back, depending on what area you're in.
Is there a percentage, is there a percentage range of the house
much?
You can say,
Okay.
hey, when we're talking about installs after?
It's more of I think a dollar value. And if you've got the landscaping, the hot tub, the pool, you're looking about 15 to 20, depending on the size and how big it is. In some of the luxury, you're talking some, 25,000 value, maybe even 30 if you've got the outdoor kitchen and everything else. It just really depends. Now, prices have gone up so much that it's adding even more value. It does. There's a huge difference with homes that don't have and homes that do, what you can sell for.
To pull this back, just to change direction,
Sure.
go back to what Teresa was saying just a little while ago about outdoor kitchens and that kind of thing.
All right, now we've entered into selfie mode.
Selfies.
None of us are listening to you now. We're just taking pictures. You have my
attention. Out the window and have a coffee.
in rare form, I'm the one listening.
We get a little sidetracked, especially when I'm here.
We're down to 3 minutes, so we got to get as much out of them as we can now.
Guess which hand I have, the piece of candy in.
Well, it worked.
My right or my left?
Real quickly, Chris, we were talking just a moment ago about.
He was finishing a thought.
He was finishing a thought.
Oh,
first,
really?
though.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes,
Really?
not me.
Okay,
Brett was.
Go ahead and finish that thought there, Brett.
That really was distracting, wasn't
Yes, it really was attractive.
No, really. I was going to mention was to embellish upon what Teresa had just said about outdoor kitchens. In a lot of cases, these guys, especially oil execs, I mean, they're in and out of the country, and they want to be able to come home and sit down and relax. And what is important to them, and in a lot of cases, is the sports. And it's being able to sit in that spa and lean back and watch the TV.
Wow.
Watch what's going
Fire
on.
pits.
And so I find that what we're doing is we're actually is really working on that, designing the space that complements that kind of a lifestyle, to be able to sit out there and also to be able to entertain. Ice machines, outdoor refrigerators, all of these kinds of things. I have a client right at the moment with a very large project on Lake Houston in Kingwood. Excuse me. And he wanted an actual wood fired stove. So
Wow.
we've put all that kind of, we can do whatever they want.
A wood fire stove. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
We are down to the last 2 minutes of the show, and I want to make sure that we have time that everybody knows how to get a hold of you, to get a hold of you both. So let's jump into that real quick. If somebody wanted to reach out to you to get a consultation, that type of thing, what's the process?
Probably one of the easiest things would just be to go onto our website, which is www.downunderpools.com. That's DOWNUNDAPOOLS. Or they can email me at admin@downunderinc.com, or they can give me a call, which is 281-236-4344, and I'd be happy to sit down and do a brief discussion over the phone and talk about the scope of your project and go from there.
And every show we end it with Teresa's tips or Teresa's great quote of the day, but we actually have Teresa to say that. What is the great quote of the day?
This is from Joel Osteen's Ministries, and it's, we have to realize that we can become someone's miracle. Look around at who God has put in your life, because you may be their miracle. And you can reach me at 281-799-3927 or thekennedyteam.net.
Until
Kennedy-
next week.
Have a great week.
And you've been listening to the Real Estate Rat Pack. The question is, who's Frank, who's Sammy, who's Dean, and who's the other guy?
Chris is
I'm
Chris
Frank.
is Frank.
I'm
He's
Dean.
Dean, and I'm Sammy.
Yes, that right. Yeah.
So tune in to the Really